Hello, everybody. Today we're going to be looking at a desktop. We're actually looking at the combo here. Now, these two together obviously work very well together. But we're going to start with the one on the bottom, and then I'll do a separate video for the top. I was going to do both of them as a stack because they're seriously really good together. I mean, these things are really premium. I mean, they're better than they should be for this price. So we're going to deal with the D30 Pro first. Now, the D30 Pro has a lot of advanced features. The USB controller on this is the Xmos XU208. That's a second generation controller. It has 8 cores, I believe. And the downstream to the XU208 is an Altera CPLD, which is supposed to ensure very stable, noise-free, jitter-free, optimized digital input signals to the DAC. So that's probably the most complicated thing I've ever said on this channel. But this is a complicated DAC. It has some unusual things. Usually it has the quad chipset in it. Usually I'm used to saying dual chipsets and stuff. This one has 4 DAC chips, and they're the CS43198, which usually is in some of the players that are out there. And they usually have 1 to 2. This thing having 4 of them. So it's an unusual DAC to say the least, and it performs very good for its price range. As a matter of fact, this performs better than some things twice this price. So I was impressed with this. I, of course, am not a big desktop person. I had, if you remember some of the pictures from Instagram, I had a giant stack of DACs and amps going way up. And I came to the realization I'm not using all of those. So, I mean, I still have those. I have I have the Sundavo that's over here on this side. And then on this side, I just have some simple ones, some budget ones, including a tube amp. And that's basically my setup. So it's nice. I leave this space open for things for me, new things for me to try out. We had the Zens, which were very, very good. But this is just a whole different league of amplifier. And I haven't done a lot of topping things. I've actually had a bunch of toppings, but I wasn't doing video reviews at the time. I was just doing written reviews and Instagram posts at the time. This YouTube channel originally was for my Dark Souls exploits and other video game exploits out there. Boy, I miss those days. Good old Dark Souls. But anyway, so getting into this, the screen has a remote. Let's get a look at the remote first. You have your power, you have mute, you have volume up, volume down. You can switch between the different inputs, and we'll do that in just a minute. Headphone mode, line out, auto. That controls the light right there. So you have your different modes. So we see optical, coax, and USB. I only have the USB hooked up right now. I did use all of the inputs in my testing, and I've had this for, oh my goodness, quite some time. I actually tried doing the video for this, and then we got nailed with a snowstorm, and the power went out, and it didn't come out the way I wanted it to. I like that all your inputs are covered. You even have the XLR, which I like very much. I like the aesthetic of these as well. And I'm going to unplug this in just a minute so you can see the back and everything. But I'm just going to try to get in some of the specs without, going too detailed into the specs. Because mainly I want to give you the sound presentation, how this performs. Obviously, both of these, a nice solid block of aluminum. It's got that nice big screen, orange, looks really, really good. Let's see what else I wrote down on the notes. Um, you also can access the menu through the buttons as well. You don't need to have the remote, but a remote is nice. I mean, it's nice to shut it on and off whenever you want. It's quite responsive, as you can see. Only takes a matter of seconds. The volume knob here, which also serves as a button, has a nice clickiness to it. Not sure if you can hear that. I don't want to pull the microphone over to it because then it'll be in the camera. But build quality, very, very good. We're just going to, I like to keep it simple here. I like to try to not get too technical. I mean, all of the specs for all the stuff that we always review, that's online, that's on the box. Obviously, if you're interested in the product, you're going to be looking at it online and seeing what the specs are. So I give you a basic thing of the specs, and then I give you a basic idea of what's in the box and also a basic impression of it so that you can make an informed decision. So looking at my notes now, so there is on this, and actually I'll just show it. I won't do the I/O right now, as a matter of fact. So inside the box, you get the remote, you get the power cable, and you get a USB cable, and of course you get a manual. Everybody's seen a manual. They know what a power cable looks like. It's just standard power cable. And then depending on your country, obviously it'll be different. The USB cable is standard USB cable. And of course, we've seen the remote. So that's basically what's in the box. There's nothing to actually get on the box. The box is a nice, simple box with simple packaging. The headphones used for this were a variety of different headphones from Hi-Fi-Man, Fostex, Sennheiser, the usual suspects. We also did some IAMs with this, which it fared fairly well with IAMs. It is a desktop unit. It's kind of overkill to have an 18 ohm IAM on a desktop amplifier. But we do it because somebody out there is going to do it. And I want to make sure that it's, all right to do it. I personally, we're talking about the amplifier now, of course. It's a little overpowered for IAMs. And it's up to you. If that's what you want to have. Some people like to just have desktops. Some people have both desktops and portables. Now, balanced output, single-ended output. Honestly, it has a very, very nice kind of flat, very, very neutral presentation. Very low noise. Nothing is emphasized. That said, obviously your bass, it's going to go deep enough. Mid bass, there's good clarity, there's good texture, there's great impact and detail there. You can hear everything. Honestly, I'll go on record to say that this really sounds reference class in its sound. I think a lot of people would like that. So listening to things other than with the optical, because the optical always is a little bit less. So we won't judge it by the optical, because most opticals are good for what you're doing. You're listening to TV, you're listening to games. These worked very well for game, by the way. Very, very well. The highs are very good. They have some nice sparkle, some nice detail. They seem to roll off a little fast, but that's good because there's no harshness there. It definitely has a very open sound. There's very good sound stage, very good imaging with this. So overall, things like the Hi-Fi-Man, Ananda, the SEs and the 4Xs, not the 4XX, but the X4s, excuse me. I did send the XXs back because they sounded very close. I mean, I also sent the SEs back because they're very close. And I don't know, the overall design of the 4X I liked better from Hi-Fi Man, so I kept those. But I did try the other three, and I really should have done a video on them before I sent them back. So if you're stacking this with the A30, there's definitely some really good synergy there. These things are made for each other. They work very, very good. I would say this is much better in its clarity than even my own, which was one of the most expensive ones that I had gotten at the time. Obviously, these are, I think, $3.99 a piece if they're not on sale. I can look up the price or whatever. But overall, that's basically it for these. You're not getting anything emphasized on this. It's just a very neutral sound, which is very good for a lot of things, especially when you don't want stuff added in. Very good dynamics here, very good impactful bass, very nice detailed, airy, open highs, excellent mids. Where the heck did I put the notes on the mids? The mids are just spectacular on this, by the way. Very, very cleared, very good kind of emphasis and character on the mids. Honestly, vocals sounded excellent. I would say that they're a little bit maybe toward the thin side, but not overly so. Instruments sounded neutral, had very good separation and layering. Cymbals and guitar, everything was heard. The spatialness of the overall performance of that was excellent. That said, now we'll go on to the A30 in the next video, but I'm going to pause it for a second, disconnect that, and I'm going to show you the back of it and everything so that you can see that as well. Okay, I got this unplugged. Got my DD Hi-Fi, very good RCAs unplugged in this is my personal USB. So looking on the back, you have your balanced, you have your XLRs, you have your right and left, you have your coax, which you put the cap back on, you have your optical, and you have your USB, and here's your standard power plug, just like a PC's power plug. And you also have the addition of the on and off switch, but you will have to either use the remote or press this button. And then, of course, straightforward. This is a solid piece. It has a decent weight to it for something this size. There's some nice rubber feet here on the bottom that are squishy, protect your desk, and it's just overall built like a bloody tank. The thing is great. So looking at the back, the I/O is impressive. You have your balanced, you have your regular, you have your optical, you have your USB, and you even have the coaxial. Everything that you possibly could want on that one piece. And it's a DAC. A really good DAC doesn't really add much to the sound, or at least it's not supposed to technically. But they do in some ways. Sometimes they add more openness. Sometimes they add more dynamics or whatever. It's never going to be perfectly not in this world. Not unless you're spending thousands and thousands of dollars. And I don't know. I've never quite used anything that expensive besides the one from Sennheiser, that big long thing. I forgot what model that was, but it's been out for a long time now. I used that one. And even that one was definitely not completely in without its addition to something. But technically, a DAC isn't supposed to add to the signature. The amplifier does, but not the DAC. So that said, this thing is pretty flat for its sound signature. That's definite. Very, very good product. I'm going to leave a link down below to this video, and of course the next video will be the A30. This has been the Topping D30 Pro, just about reference class for about $3.99, I think it is right now, or something like that. I'll leave a link and you can see what price it is or whatever. But if you're looking for a desktop DAC, and I would suggest getting both of these. What a good DAC this is. Very, very good. Plus you get the remote as well. So it's double good because you can control it from across the room. Thanks so much for watching. I hope this video was informative, and I will see you somewhere on the internet. Please be safe.